Hello there, Ddraig back, and we're just going to finish off my videos about the Amazons. And my second video, of course, as always, is about the campaign. So, I've been thinking about my campaigns and how I do these videos. And I think I need to start off with how they play as a faction first, and then we get into the campaign itself. So hopefully you've seen the unit video. If you haven't, I'll put a link up on the top right corner about now. As I mentioned in there, they are quite similar in many respects to Wood Elves. So if I have a look at that Penthea's starting army. This is on turn 2 and there's a reason for that, which I'll go to in a minute. As it's nothing special. Jungle Yustrian Wildcats, some of the Riders with Bows, which are quite a good unit. Scouts, Warriors with Spears, and some Eagle Warriors. All very good. And I'll just leave that on so you remind some of the stats. Now, the Wood Elves haven't got great armour. Amazons have got even less than good armour. It's pretty poor. And they're not as good on melee defence, as in these are not as good as the Spear, the Elf Guard. It's not the Elf Guard. The Eternal Guard, there you go. For the Wood Elves. So, this has to be catered for. But we do have a lot of access to poisons. And I don't think the Wood Elves have any access. Oh, yes, they do. The Bull have that special type of tip, don't they? But that's only one unit. The Amazons have a lot of units that can do that pretty much as soon as you get them. And there's about, I reckon, at least 30%, 40% about that have got some access to a poison of some ability. Either on the range or on the melee attack. So in that sense, they are quick, very quick. Like, I think they're similar to Wood Elves, maybe even quicker. And pretty much every single unit is above 40 acceleration, speed. I don't think there's anything that isn't. And some of them are really quick, like the Wildcats, so up to the usual speed of 82, and you got the 85 of these type of units. They're all very quick. And that's the best thing about this army. You've got to be going in and out as quick as possible, causing a lot of damage. They hit pretty hard, but they can't last in long fights. Their health is not good enough, their armour is nowhere near good enough. And you really have to have yeens of troops ready to, and then bring units back, and if you've got access to spells to heal them. Because your first legendary unit has not got any spells whatsoever. They're not too difficult to get spells, to be fair. But they desperately need the buffs to either boost their health, i.e. healing, or just boost the damage, or just boost the defense. The Yaw of the Serpent, pretty good for doing that. And you also get your access to Yaw of Life. And those type of things are kind of key. So, that's roughly what I think of the faction. I think I'll do that from now on, because I think it's quite a good idea just to have something of theme of mind. So if you think Wood Elves, bit yes so, very good in Vanguard. They got some great troops that go in Vanguard, and they could put half their units in Vanguard, to be perfectly honest, and have a small batch in the main line right at the front, and then have attacks coming from the flanks. Obviously, they share a similarity with the Wood Elves that they don't really have much range damage as in long range, as in siege equipment, but they do have dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs they do have got a very high ranged attack. So that puts them up, and of course they got the dinosaurs themselves. So they're very unique, I would say. They share some of these, they share some of the Wood Elves. They're kind of a hybrid of both, I would say. But the one thing they don't have is good durable infantry, because both of them have easy access to durable infantry. Like the Eternal Guard or the Treekin, the Wood Elves, and of course these men have got tons of them, like virtually all of their troops. Like so also very durable. The Croxagors, they're very durable as well. Of course the Dinos. Right. So that being said, let's move on. And so you start off here with Traxia, and you got a 3-stage, 3-tier settlement from the off, but only the one, which is a problem at the start. You do get quite a lot of cash, and you've got quite a lot of cash available. And I'll get into it when I go to my own campaign, and I'll show you what I did and how I got a bit more cash. But until then, let's have a look at the settlement tree, or the building tree. So as you can see, to get the elite infantry, you have to be tier 5. That's quite steep these days, I found, because they're good, but not Warriors of Chaos good though. But they are very good. So that's a bit of a strange one. Quite like the idea. So because you got access to, of course, dinosaurs, you got access to a fair range of units in this roster. because it is a very complete roster. So we got the warrior. So this is the infantry tree. Warriors and spears, and then you got totem warrior, jagged warriors, and eagle warriors, and of course you get access to Yustrian wildcats and tribesmen as you tier up, no matter what. Next, we have the archers, scouts, jungle stalkers, piranha warriors, and huntress. As you can see, these cards may be vaguely familiar. They are similar to the Wood Elf ones in many ways. Like that's a copy of the Weight Watchers, let's be fair. And they're not as good as Weight Watchers, decent enough, very good. Next, we've got the cavalry. So the various choices of cavalry there. Then you got the flying riders, pterodon riders, and the ripidactyls. I do like my ripidactyls. Not something you'd think they need, because a lot of their troops do hit pretty decently hard. But that is very handy because they're so mobile. Then you got the spellcasters, so you can have access to this quite early on. I'd be tempted to build one of these personally, and maybe build the infantry. I don't think you need the cash right from the off, so you couldn't tear it down and make this completely so just building your units up, building armies up, because it is quite handy to have access to magic right from the off. And moving on, so the Bestiaire, all the way up to the Aegis Stegodon and the Feral Carnosaur. Then we got the champion, Kokaim Devouts, and the Berserkers. So again, this is the Elite Infantry, and it takes a while to get there, to be fair. Then these are reasonably familiar. Hunting Camp for growth and catastrophe punishment. Then you got Stonemaker. This is income from all regions and all provinces. Then you got the Public Order one, and then you've got Yashri, the Bazaar, which adds a bit more cash. So there's your building tree. So that is your basics. Right, let's quickly go into the rites, because most of these rites are only be performed have they hit certain marks, so they're not as widely available as the others, but they are very cheap, and they are a fair amount of 5 turns, 10 turns for that one, 5 turns for that one, so they're not too bad, and the usual cooldown duration. So what have we got? More Windows Magic, Weapon Strength, plus Frenzy, but you have to raise 10 settlements. Not a big fan of raising, because they have access to settle pretty much anywhere, so... But, yeah, if you go that way, if you want to block off, say, with Dark Elves, Yans, or something like that, possibility. Then more leadership, recruitment rank, and local recruitment capacity. Not too bad. Magical resistance, casualty punishment, and a magic of Arden Ancient, so I'll just hover that over for you to see. Very handy. And then you got melee attack, and with ambushes. Ambushes are quite good with the Amazons for a simple reason is they are so quick. They can get in so fast, they close that distance, and especially in an ambush battle, within seconds, and that's it. The pretty much fight's over then, unless you haven't got enough troops in your ambush. And all the enemies very numerous. So there's the rights tree. And one more thing before we go on to the next section. So, on the second turn, this is why I'm on the second turn, you get these Regiment of Renown quests. You get these automatically, you don't have to do anything. Just hit the second turn. So you got Temple of Kara, which is right next to you. And the Huntsman Expedition. A faction I haven't actually played that much, I realised when I was doing this video. I've already recorded this once, but I forgot to press record on something, so it didn't work. Anyway. Something I need to go back to. I haven't really played that faction enough. Anyway. I might try one of my mods. I wonder which one I should try. Boys with Boys might be interesting. Anyway. Next one, Monument to the Moon. So let's click on that settlement, just to remind people where that is. I think that's held by the Vampire Coast faction. Not sure which one. Then we got Yustria for another regiment down. Oh, just hover that over a minute. There's Oxel, which is right down the bottom right hand corner. Well, bottom. Very close to where Skaven starts, yeah, because that's where Tekra starts. And your Skulk starts down there. And then the Arsway. We go to the Hexatl. Speaking of your Skulk, I'm actually reading the End Times novels at the moment, and I've just hit the 4th one of that series, and it's all about the Skaven, one of my favourite factions. I have to admit, I've heard rumours about the End Times Wars, and I haven't read a lot of it, I admit. And I'm really very new to Warhammer in general. I don't follow it that much. The only reason I do is because I got the interest through this game. And yeah, the End Times one, the first 2 books I quite enjoyed, like The Gash and The Grotkin. Very good books, quite enjoyed them. The Kane one, didn't like that at all. I'm quite a big High Elf fan. I won't spoil it, but if you are a High Elf fan, I would suggest not reading it, because it really annoyed me and I didn't want me to continue the series. So, anyway, 4th one started quite well though, I admit. Right, that's enough of me waffling on about this. I think I've tucked everything I wanted in the intro bit. So, right, let's move on to the tech tree. So the tech tree, as you can see, it's roughly based on the new Empire one. And we'll just go through it while we're here, because I like to, especially because it's pretty much a brand new tech tree. You've obviously got the formula from, well, the Empire, and then it's used their own judgment and created their off version. So we'll start off at the bottom. We'll start off what you can start beginning from the start. So you got Skin Hunters. Oh yeah, I found this quite amusing. So you got leadership +5 when fighting against them, and strength. Then you got double experience gained for killing them, and then you got departurations. Just seems a bit odd to have that there to me. But meh, whatever. But it just seems like, yes, let's kill them. We get better leadership. Yes, we get better experience. But now we want to be peace with them. Seems a bit weird to me, that. Anyway, onwards. So most of these are actually locked out, as you can see, by various settlements, buildings you need. So to get them, you have to obviously build those buildings. And in some of these cases, these can quite they sort of gradually grow. I think I've had 2 playthroughs of this. One which I'll show you later, and another one which I got quite far, and then I had to restart to start getting a bit more used to the faction, get this video ready. And yeah, I think I never had any problems. I always had something to research, which was good, which I thought was quite well balanced. Sometimes you're thinking, I don't really have anything to research, but you've always got something you can click on, just keep it going. So that's the miscellaneous. So you've got better spears, very handy. Missile strength and stronger shields, and Lakoka, vigor reduce and room recovery time. We'll go this way, why not? Then we've got scouting parties, ambush and step defense, melee defense, actual campaign movement, raiders, plunders, human invaders, and Call of the Wild. All your standard things. So for his sisterhood, you got some specific ones for the Coca-Cola, hero capacity, special training, magical prowess even, devout followers, foresight, honor code, forbidden tombs, old one relics, piercing weapon damage, not pretty decent. That's very good, but I don't think I ever got to that stage. I have to admit, Shrine of the Gods, yeah, I didn't go down that tree on my first playthrough. Chosen to Yeed, and Magic Reserves. It's quite a detailed tree, I think, because you don't need to. You have to unlock various sections of it to unlock other bits. You have to get the right buildings. It's quite good. Research rate, which is quite near the bottom, to be honest. That to get your infantry a bit cheaper. Magical item drop, and +3 for Agent Stegodons. Really nice. Let's go to the armies. So these are buffs to the various army abilities, various units, or your standard things. Nothing. Speed is always good, but +10%. What's that going to be? Only a couple of points. Every helps. Not a big deal though. Nice bit of range. That's really nice. Rig cores, that'd be east. I think it's 140 base. So 14, yeah. Getting close to Wood Elves. Rig cores. Core tribes and total banners. Then onto the Beasts of the Jungle. Charge bonuses, more ammunition, and upkeep drop. There's not actually many upkeep drops in this tree. I just actually realised when I looked at this. There's only one, which is down here. And that one, obviously. Weapon strength, missile damage, code ones, bonding with beasts, bipedal dominance, and table beast. Some really, oh, there's another upkeep on there. There's some really decent abilities in the beast one. They really stack really nicely. Gathering, restoration, and you got exotic cities. Very good. I always like to get as much money from your cities as you can. Hunting camps, ports. That's it. Fair. It may be here, but initially you're going to go on a massive killing spree. You might not get to ports for a while, depending which way you go, I suppose. If you go up to the Empire up that way, where the Huntsman's expedition is, then you might do, yeah, actually. But on the whole, it might take a while. Food storage, traders, don't get much trading. We do a bit actually. I've done a bit of trading. Jungle caverns, so that's up to 20% more, or 10% more of actual trade reduce. Income from all buildings, jungle codex, and a sequence of protection. So there we go. That is all the tech tree. And we'll now move on to the skill trees. So the first skill tree, we've got, of course, Panthesia. So this is the usual thing. You got the traditional, all the boosts up down the bottom here. Some income, extra income from using settlements and breeding. Ambush, Friends of the Amazon, Amaxian. Then we got traditional ones you've seen all before in all your things. That's quite good. Minus 20% for jungle stalkers. Master Ambusher and Devoted. A traditional thing, very good though that is. They got all the infantry buffs and the various buffs to your units. I would definitely go to the ones that increase any defense, to be honest, as you might have guessed. They kind of need it. Oh, armor. I don't think there is any. Off the top of my head, there's defense. Totem Guardian, which you don't get for ages. Yeah, you don't get any defensive buffs, unfortunately. Yeah, physical, yeah, a bit there actually, but they have to be quite high ranked. But plus 8 is actually pretty decent. Soulbound, a bit more physical resistance. Wings Wall, Hardened Warriors, and a bit of armor. Armor plus 5 is not going to make any difference whatsoever, I don't think. Maybe on the Totem Warriors, possibly, no, still will make that much difference. Standing Ground, you need that. I'd suggest you go into that as soon as possible, just to get that bit of extra defense on the go. Then we got some healing herbs, Man Hater, Mark of Serpent, Guerrero Tactics, that's the poison. Guerrero Tactics, that is really good, but you have to get to level 10 to get anywhere near that. And then we got Shrunken Heads and Slayer of Jarl Sigurdsson. So if you remember from my unit video, that's the person she kills to rescue her sisters from Norska. Fleetfoot, Endurance, so these are all personal abilities. If you want to make a very combat focused, you need this. You need to get that to plus 12 to make it stand any chance whatsoever. Armor strength, and of course, even a 10 would probably help in that case. Full Seeker, Indomitable, Scarred Veteran, Opportunist, hard to hit. Even getting that defense up to 12, that could get that. Then she becomes really powerful when they get defense up. And Deadly Onslaught, because her base stats are pretty decent. And as you saw, you got the Mark of Serpent, which gives you poison as well. Totem Veterans and Champions of the Jungle. Then you got Fault Cutter, a personal attack, a magical weapon, very handy. Hammer to the Moon, Elixir of Life, Horned One, Whipperdactyl. So she can't go on the biggest beasts, unfortunately. Duty of the Amazons, and Enchanted Skins. So there's lots of things to boost her defense, to be fair. But that is Panthesia. So here we are, the Matriarch skill tree. Just a quick note about the Ords you can recruit. You can actually recruit a Skink or a Saurus Oldblood. I, however, didn't bother with my couple of playthroughs, because I thought, if you're going to play Amazons, why would you want to pick a Isman into it? It don't make much sense to me. So, but the choice is there if you want to. Anyway, onto the Matriarch here. So you got Root Marcher, Iron Discipline, Fervent, Treasure Hunters, Ambush Tactics, all the standard affair, Defenders of the Amazon, Swift Fingers, bit of Casualty Approachment Healing, Venerated Warriors, Shackney Strike, and Devoted. Very similar to the ones you saw before. Leadership, so these are all the traditional buffs. So you haven't got many buffs for defense apart from that one, but that's for Totem Guardians only. So this is exactly the same as the one you just seen by the looks of it. For Panphasia. Lovely. Then of course her own personal things. So again, if you want to put them into combat, stack that defense as much as you can. And then she's actually pretty tough, to be honest. Because you can really build it around that thing. I usually ran, I think of about 4 or 5 armors I've had, I've always had a matriarch with all this, to be honest. Boosting that, and then I had a couple of heroes to supplement her for attacking. That's why I built it, but each to their own. Anyway, where was I? Yes, up here. These are all the traditional things you've just seen. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. Then we've got a few more options here. Amazon Champions, the extra life, devoted to Serena, devoted to Rig, or devoted to Amex. So these are just particular auras you can choose. So you've got poison attacks there. So very good if you want to lead ambushes. Devoted to Rig, hero capacity, passive ability of Frenzy, really that good. Or devoted to Amex, immune to high skills attrition, very handy as soon as you start going across seas, obviously, which you will do towards the end of your campaign. Unless you just want to capture Yustria and be done. Amulet of the Moon, Star Sword, Cold One, or Carnosaur. Carnosaurs make this particular woman very scary. Mesmerize Dance, Savage Fury, Duty of the Amazons, and Enchanted Skins. And the last one, Immortality. So there you go, that's the Matriarch Yord, or Yordess. And for sake of completion, we'll just have the Priestess, which is of course the other Yord you can choose. So I've chosen I think there's only one choice for memory serves, for Serpent one. And then you got all the traditional ones down here. I'm not going to go through all this again, because you've just seen it a few times. But they're pretty much identical to either the Matriarch or the Yordess. Amazon Warriors, Hunter Eaters, so all these are exactly the same, nothing changes there. Yep, all good. So, of course you get to the magical abilities, which is exactly the same for the hero version. Depending which order I just put this in, actually thinking about it, but yeah. I'll go for that. See the hero version of a Serpent, of a Priestess. These are slightly different. So you got High Priestess, cooldowns, high age artifacts. That's very good. Amulet of the Moon, Starblade, Sun Staff, which is really good. Great magic mist to have that is. I have access to Sun Bolt. Stegodon, Age of Stegodon. It just seems fitting to have this character on them. I just think it is fitting. Mesmerize's Dance, Duty to the Amazons, Enchanted Skins, and of course Immortality. So that's just a quick look at that particular skill tree. So here's the Priestess. This is the hero tree, and we'll just have a quick go over this. Most of it is what you kind of expect. So you got all the traditional ones for heroes. So I'm obviously going to go over this quite quickly. Then we've got all the magical abilities. Like I was saying before, that magic is quite a big thing. I won't bother showing you the Ice one or the Beasts one, which is the other magical they have access to. Pretty much the same thing as this. Serpent Strength, Spirit Walk. This is okay, but you kind of want this character on the back anyway. So there's a slight advantage to it. But there's definitely better ones as a constant ability when they're casting. Singing Wind, quite good. They always are quite good. Brace of Serpent, very good. Stack max this out, I would say. So you got it nice and cheap, and you get 35% and minus 60 plus 16 defense. That's for 32 seconds. Only affects one unit, but very handy. Evasion, that's just for her. Think Magical Reserves, Siren's Dream. Either buff yourself or debuff the other. I would go for buffing yourself personally. Unless you're just about to launch a big attack. I think that's an area, isn't it? Yeah, it's an area. So yeah, if you're just about to hit them in the flank, pop that on first. you can find Vampdator, and the Living Jungle. Very powerful spell, hence why it's at the end. Very, very good indeed. An Arcane Conduct. Healing Herbs. Then you got Amulet to the Moon, Saboteur, put on a Stegodon, and why wouldn't you? Agility to the Amazons, Enchanted Skins, and Immortality. So there you go. That's you look at the Priestess Serpents. And to finish off for skill trees, we're just going to quickly go over Totem Warrior. So this is quite an obvious one. It's very combat oriented, but it's got some interesting things at the top here. So the Replenishment, Stimulate Growth, Assault Garrison, Assassinate, and Hinder Replenishment and Specialist. So nothing spectacular. And of course, they've got all his personal abilities. Again, stack armor and defense if you can. Actually, not if you can. I would do that. And then they become quite. I always ran with these two Mia heroes. If you're gonna do it, go ham and just get the both of them there. And two of them can definitely take down most things, to be honest, especially with some debuffs. So that's all the various usual things. So this is what I was on about on my unit abilities. These are like mounts. So this will lock out various things. You can only choose one of these. And you got Deadeye there as well, which I'll put on totem. Very handy. Really makes it a bit more flexible, this unit. I think it's a tier 3 settlement building, so it makes it you can tailor it much better to whatever army you're going to put it in. So I really like this. I think this is a great little touch by the team. You know, Healing Herbs, Amulet of the Moon, Starbraid, Duty of the Amazons, Enchanted Skins, and Immortality. So there you go. That's the art of the skill trees. Because the other one, Totem Warrior, and there's another one which I can't remember off the top of my head, is very similar to this. Only small changes, but I'll save you going through that. So here we are with my current campaign. We're on turn 60, and it's going reasonably well for this one. My first campaign went similar. I found the first one a bit harder because I didn't know what to expect with this army, and it turns out that the Empire here, the Huntsman Expedition, got really aggressive quite early on. And I went over there on the 3rd or 4th turn just to have a look, see what's going on. And they had 2-stack army already. Maybe not, yeah, it's the 8th, 9th turn. So what did I do? So on this playthrough, I decided to go west pretty much immediately. Now all these are abandoned settlements, and at the time they were abandoned. I don't know if Skaven were there before, and the other Yzerman faction down here got rid of them, but I just took these without any problems, and they were empty, so I just use this to recruit new units, and it's creating a bit of cash as well. How much is it creating? Creating 1,600 in the province, which is pretty decent. And that's building up quite nicely. As you can see, this is bringing me a nice bit of income, and I'm slowly building this area up. It takes a bit of time, to be fair, because the buildings are quite expensive, and I've been trying to spread out and create more units, get a couple of armies on the go. Come to my armies in a minute. Continue pushing south to get this area, and then I toyed with going to war with these, and I'm still on the fence whether I'm going to bother in the end. The only reason I didn't is because they did me a favour and took out part of this faction. Can't remember the name. Spine of Sotek dwarves, and they took that settlement, and they have to empty. So I thought, I already had this, which was held by the Skaven. Beat them quite easily. So I'll take that as well while I'm here. So I'm probably going to move down to finish them off. And then I took this settlement, which is only quite recently, because it was just free and available. Cool way of going friendly with the Yzerman. Again, I haven't decided whether I'm going to stay with that. The Yzerman faction is usually quite tough, I've found. And anti-Arge is not exactly this faction's strong point. So I'm currently building up some armies. So I think this is Panthesia. Yeah, here she is. So this is her army at the moment. It's not spectacular. I've built on what I had before, so I just got a nice front rank. Got some flexibility, some scouts, which you get at the start, and this one, and as I put in, this is a ridiculously good unit. Get this regiment of renown straight away. You get it as an option, just click on it, buy it. First turn, just buy it. The ranged firepower of this unit is very powerful. I can halve a unit's health in seconds. It's very limited, but so don't put it on fire as well. Just have it in the back line ready, and then as soon as you see a juicy target, fire it straight at it. Because this will wreck most units. It's brilliant. So I've added a bit more speed with the wildcats just to chase down archers and skinks. And I mainly bought these for against the Skaven because they had a lot of missile units. So I thought, right, I'll get these in quite quick, and I actually wiped them apart. It wasn't even close. My other army, which I'm still building up, which is actually a bit stronger, is one I built from scratch. This is where my heroes are. So they gave me a Scar veteran, so I thought I'll keep him. I might get rid of him. They are pretty damn good, let's be honest. And he's actually quite high. He's level 10 actually now. So I've kept him for quite a while. And he's using protect my matriarch here. And I got a priestess of Serpent's Caster. Now I need to move another hero unit at some point. Just to go into this army. Another caster mainly. I think my caster selection is here. Yes, it's here. I built it here because the vampire corruption was getting quite extreme, mainly from this price. So I built it there just to tone it down a bit and get the Untainted back up. But other than that, yeah, it's going alright. I'm quite enjoying it. I quite like the faction. I think the faction is quite well balanced. I don't think it's not overpowered. It's unique. Like I said right at the start, a unique combination of the Instrument and the Wood Elves. And maybe a mix of the High Elves as well. A slight mix. And I really find it interesting playthrough. The starting price is... it's okay. It all depends where if you want to go to war. You can go to war with the Instrument quite early on. And that's the one I first did on my first playthrough, and that didn't go well for me, unfortunately. Because the Instruments are quite strong at the start. Because they have some of the best settlements. Being that's Justria kind of makes sense. And so I've been friendly with these, and I'm providing a nice bit of trade at the moment. How much trade am I getting? Yeah, 650. Mainly through my jewels. But that's the only trade I am actually getting at the moment. Because you are kind of limited to where you are. I could trade with the humans, and I'm not trading with the undead on principle. So there you go, and that is my current playthrough of the Amazons. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video.